All right, so we back. Let's just jump into it.
What are we talking about?
So, the guy,
The king of
the
podcasts?
podcast king,
Jose
Podfather.
Okay, even though I was there before him. But anyways, he's white in America. Okay, I'm just kidding.
Jose Rogan.
Right. The host of Fear Factor has been stirring up some noise. So people are saying that Joe Rogan has been spreading bad information about Lovid.
He's the new Trump.
But Trump loves the vaccine, though.
No, but as far as like his role in society, now that Trump is no longer president, it's now
that's
Joe
right.
Rogan.
He's the new evil guy. He's the
new
devil
guy.
Yeah, the new Trump.
So everyone's been posting this, and there's like different layers to this. So let's start with like what he did wrong. So I guess he has conversations.
Allegedly did wrong.
Yeah, what people are saying.
Yeah.
What the beef is. What
Yeah.
the problem is. So people are saying that Joe Rogan has been talking about COVID and spreading misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
We're all on the same page with that? Okay, cool. So, and I'm not sure because I don't follow the show, but
do.
you do? Okay, so he's been having conversations about Lovid.
Yeah, he has obviously his thought process behind the vaccine and the mandates.
What is he saying?
So he's not against the vaccine by any stretch of the imagination. He just, for him, his personal decision was not to take it. He's had a multitude of friends that have had adverse reactions to it. He's just a big proponent of, one, healthy lifestyle. Like, we're not talking about health enough when it comes to COVID. And then two, like, there's not enough conversation about treatments. It's only that there's one solution and one solution only. And Joe Rogan's whole podcast, when it comes to anything except maybe weed, he has he's very open. He brings everybody on and he just discusses with people that either have same opinions with him, opposite opinions of him. And his whole point is, let me learn. So the biggest issue right now with Lovid and Joe Rogan is he is giving a platform to people who the mainstream media wouldn't give a platform to. And they are stating things that, you know, King Fauci and the CDC might not be saying. And so, obviously, you know, the Fauciites aren't happy with it. And that is kind of the situation.
Okay. So he is saying things. I thought he was just having conversations with people.
He just said his own thing. When he had COVID, he had his own thing of like what he did. He took ivermectin, which they said was horse dewormer, which turned out to be very false because he had on Sanjay Gupta, who's the guy from CNN, the doctor. And he was like...
You said you like him?
No. I was just saying the name.
Oh,
Sanjay
okay.
Gupta.
Okay, I said it right. Thank God.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Why did you say this?" He's like, "Oh, the guy had no recourse." And he's like, "Oh." Then later said, "Oh, I thought he was going to beat me up if I said anything wrong." And so it's like, what? Who is the one spreading the misinformation?
The biggest thing with Joe Rogan, he's big on certain things, right? He's a big two-way advocate, and he's a big freedom of speech advocate because his whole life is freedom of speech, right? He's a comedian, stand-up comedian. You know, he podcasts. Those are his two major streams of income. So anybody limiting that right of freedom obviously directly impacts him. And then he's very big about these mandates that he thinks that is infringing upon freedom. And he's big on freedom when it comes to that. So that's where I think his, at least, intentions are coming from. Now, obviously, people are going to, you know, try to paint pictures. I just saw Trevor Noah on the what's that show, the Daily Show or whatever. Just try to chopped up clips and try to make it seem like him and Jordan Peterson were doing some racist stuff. But at least insinuating. He didn't use the word racist, but they were talking about how in the conversation they were saying that I don't understand why we say black and white when white people aren't actually the color white and black people aren't actually the color black. And then they chopped and screwed that up to make it seem like he doesn't understand why we even use the term black people.
So everything Joe Rogan is wrong.
To certain segment of society, yes.
I was at work the other day, and this guy said, people are dying from this thing left and right. But I have a couple nephews that subscribe to Joe Rogan University, and they're just the biggest disappointment of our family. He said that to me, and I said, that's crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Kelly, you can't disagree with these people because then you are no longer black.
I didn't say anything because I don't listen to Joe Rogan, so I didn't know what the big deal was. So I've seen a lot of people post like he spreads misinformation. This is the next leg of it. 270 doctors have signed to say that he needs to get canceled or something. Like they need to put a warning on his show or something like that.
And then what do we find out about these doctors? I'm doing air quotes right now.
Well,
so they weren't all medical doctors.
Okay.
So they were like, they could have been doctor in history. And they were like signed on, right? So it's the same thing with media. And, obviously let us put a headline in because they're not technically wrong. Like a doctor of history is still a doctor, but you're insinuating medical professionals, right, are stating that Joe Rogan is a evil person for society and he needs to be censored and they need to take him off of Spotify or whatever. So I think that's the interesting thing, right? Is because, when people, the reason why Joe Rogan got off of YouTube was because YouTube was starting to heavily censor. And he started seeing that and he was like, if they're going to demonetize me if I say the wrong thing and all this kind of stuff, then, I need to find another avenue so I'm not just all beholden to YouTube. Spotify came in and gave him the bizag, right? And props to Spotify for not backing off of it. I mean, I'm sure it's not only a freedom of speech thing for Spotify. They're also making a ton of money off of Joe Rogan being on the platform.
Videos are so popular.
Yeah, but I mean, still props to them for, sticking by him and not removing all of his episodes, and you can still hear all of these things. And I think that's the way it should be, right? And he states it as well. He's like, the only way to counteract bad speech is more speech, like good speech. Like if somebody is saying that, this is evil or whatever it is, the only way to solve that is to give the counter argument about why it's not evil. And then you can make a educated decision on, whichever way you go. And hopefully it sparks you to go in and do some of your own research so that you can make your own opinion. The problem is right now, certain segments of society don't think that you're smart enough to come up with your own thought process. They think that you should be only thinking a certain way.
Dangerous groupthink, as they call it.
Well, the next leg to this whole story is that up-and-coming singer Neil Young.
Up and coming.
Okay, he said Spotify cannot have a place for both him and Joe Rogan.
Man.
So he decided to remove his entire catalog from the streaming service.
No, Spotify.
He didn't decide.
He said, it's me or him. And I said, him. Bye.
They were like, I'm sorry that Neil Young made this decision, but we are taking all your shit off because you ain't getting 11 million views per episode.
We're sorry to the 17 fans that are disappointed with this, but it had to be done.
Now, what song has Neil Young made?
That song about freedom.
Really?
Yeah, this is a song called like something Rockin' in the Free World.
Rockin'.
I don't know.
I don't know any of his songs.
He's got a song called Hurricane, but it's not that song.
He was in a group too, I think.
Was it with him and Young Thug?
No. And Gunna.
And Lil Baby.
And Lil Baby.
In future.
I'll come to Young's defense for a little bit, for like a second, because
Go
he had polio as a kid. He fought it because he's from Canada, and they didn't have the glorious health care they did as they do now. I don't know. Anyway, he had a rough time of it, and so he's very pro-vaccination. I'm like, okay, I can understand that. But then I started reading more about it, and I found out that he like abandoned multiple wives, multiple kids with cerebral palsy and disabilities. I'm like, oh. And then he wrote a song about it to be like, hey, look at me and my kids. We're so happy.
Yeah,
like,
you can find hypocrisy in everybody, though.
Yeah. So just keep your mouth shut.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the bigger thing is how, you know, I think certain people look at the censoring and all this kind of stuff as, you know, big tech and government overreach, right? And I think there's a segment of society that's very afraid of that. And then there's another segment of society that I think genuinely believes is very afraid of COVID for either the of Lovid.
Clover.
Are afraid of Lovid, and you know, and I'm sure like somebody who's dealt with Lovid in a way where they've maybe lost a family member or anything like that, clearly they're going to be affected by it from somebody who, as opposed to somebody who's maybe had Lovid and gotten over it with very little issues, right? Mm-hmm. So it's just a very difficult situation for society to just, you know, everybody thinks they know the right thing. Not everybody, but like the loudest factions think they know the right thing on the left or the right, and it's just, you know, kind of ripping apart society, I would say.
Sure is. I can't wait for this whole situation to be done with. Now, let's move on to something more exciting, but also very sad. The 7-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time loser to the New York Giants.
Oh, wow.
1-time loser to the Eagles.
The
Eagles replacement quarterback. But more importantly, 2-time loser to the New York Giants under Eli Manning. The GOAT himself has ended an era. He's decided, surprisingly enough, to retire. How do we feel? It's not surprising, but it's also a little bit surprising because you kind of feel like you'd have him forever. But how do you feel?
I think he's the GOAT. I think there's no argument as far as who the greatest quarterback of all time is. Mm-hmm. He's been the most successful. He's done it under multiple coaches. He's done it in multiple teams, and he deserves whatever he wants. He is NFL royalty. He's he has had a career that nobody in history has ever had. Yep. And I like him as a person inside and outside of football. So respect to that king, and he will forever be. I think they retire. He might be somebody that you retire that number in Tampa Bay and New England. Nobody else gets 12. But I don't think they do that in NFL. I think they've only done it maybe once.
He deserves to be number 2.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised only because I always like to see in professional wrestling. There's this thing about going out on your back, right. So it's like I lost the big match. This is it. I'm done. I'm walking out for the last time. In football, you like to see them leave on their 10 toes. I was hoping that he'd go out there, get that 8th ring, and leave out as the guy, But this just feels underwhelming. It just feels like, I'm done. And it's like, this is the greatest white guy.
Last season.
You know what I mean? Like, this is the great, and, even last season.
He had to beat Mahomes.
Yeah, it's like, he had, to me, you got to do a 2 out of 3 with the next guy. Who is Mahomes?
Yeah, but you're acting like that's possible.
I know. And people say this all the time because I wanted Golden State to win more than they did, and I'm like, I love that stuff. No, I know, but I'm saying like I wish that they did like the 3 in a row, or they did.
Nah, it's only a Laker thing,
right?
And a Bulls thing.
So I understand like the difficulties of what that would have been like, but if I was writing the story, I would have had this huge, sweltering ending, and I kind of wish we knew, like it was marketed as his final season, so it could be like how Kobe had his thing, like it was like it could have had impact because this is not just a dude that played football and was really good at it. I honestly feel like changed the game in the way that people watch it and how people celebrate winners. Because before I feel like it was kind of random who goes to the Super Bowl and but knowing that Tom Brady was there, there's like we don't bet against Tom Brady. It's like
Right.
a culture that he built
It
of
makes
winning.
the league more competitive now because you don't know who's going to be the champion, right?
Yeah. So I will say I'll miss him. I'll definitely miss wondering if he's gonna lose in the Super Bowl, and most likely he's not. It's just crazy.
But the league's in a good place. Like, there's still a lot of up and coming quarterbacks that are lights out, that are fun to watch. Also, I mean, he's going to be very close to the game, I think. But we were talking about it. I don't know if the episode came out last week or which episode it was. It must have been last week, where I'm interested to now see the next phase of him, because we don't get to see GOATs like retire still this young and still be relevant. Like, I wonder what he's going to do with his life now. He obviously has the TB12 thing. Is he just going to go and, be a family man? Is he still going to, like, be around the sport, commentating and things of that nature? Like how Peyton Manning is doing with Eli and all that kind of stuff.
I'd love for him to eat a couple cheeseburgers. I know he's been eating almonds for the past 15 years. Like,
I would love for him to start a podcast.
That'd be crazy.
I think that would be awesome because he is funny. He has a good personality. He's obviously well respected. He could get anybody in anybody in the league on there. He could talk about success and winning and that mentality up there with anybody, right?
Yeah.
As far as that, and I think that would be awesome to see him, do that type of thing. That's one thing I wish, RIP to Kobe. Like, it would have been awesome to like have him do more interviews, be on podcasts and stuff to really talk about his mentality, like the Mamba mentality and stuff like
Keeping
that.
that legacy alive.
Yeah.
I love seeing Shaq on Instagram because he just be posting like the craziest things,
Right.
and it's just like funny. Like,
Yeah.
he's like old school funny,
Right.
An old man that he's not old, but he's just like
he's old.
he's like old on Instagram,
Right.
And I just like seeing that he's just having a good time in life. And I was hoping to see that with Kobe. He probably won't have the same sense of humor, but I'm hoping to see that with Tom. And that actually makes me think, how much do you think LeBron got left?
I mean, he's made it quite clear that he wants to play in the league till his son gets in the league. Like, he wants to play with his son. The way LeBron's playing, like, he got a few years left in him. He's still top 5 in the league, probably. Like,
Really?
Yeah, he's playing really, really well still. With science and stuff now, you're starting to see people be able to play longer and longer. And, LeBron takes care of himself very well, just like Tom Brady did. Tom Brady was turning 45 this year. Dude. That's insane
That's
to
nuts.
think about it, right? So, yeah, I mean, another great quarterback retired this season, too, Ben Roethlisberger.
Yo, I was at the gym and people was like, yo, I'm finally happy that bum is leaving.
Yeah, people don't like him because of maybe the off the field type stuff that he got into, but he's still.
But they were saying, like, as a player too.
He's never had a losing season in his career, ever.
What does that mean?
He's never had a season in the NFL where his team lost more than they won, which is insane. Because he was in the same draft class as your boy Eli and what's his name? Phillip Rivers. So he was the last one of that draft class to retire out of those quarterbacks. And he's won 2 championships just like Eli, and
Don't say that.
Why?
He won 2 championships. Eli won 2 championships.
Somehow they're not the same.
No,
I don't get it.
I'm messing with you. I just like,
but I mean,
propping up
going
my
back
Giants.
to Tom Brady, like, yeah, man, it's great to see. I think it's in the realm of how he wanted to do it. Like, he's not a very like look at me type of guy. Just right off into the sunset, and he's still going to be very relevant. It's just like, how soon is he going to get back into the public eye?
Do you think curly-haired boy with no facial features is the next Tommy?
You
We'll
saying?
see.
Are you talking about Patrick?
Yeah.
Mahomes? I mean, he's 4 times in a row in the AFC Championship game. He definitely has the talent to, but I mean, Joe Burrow's there now. Justin Herbert's coming on. There's a lot of great young quarterbacks.
Are you going to the game this weekend?
Nah,
Huh?
I'm watching it at home. I'm saving my money.
Go ahead then.
I got a date. I gotta have that
Do you
funding
really?
for dating. No, like I gotta fund my dates.
He's dating. He's
Okay.
can't be
Oh, you're
dating about-
dating.
Yeah.
But you don't have a date?
to watch the game now.
No, I mean like a date, like in general.
Am I?
What up, man?
Why you gotta call him out like that?
No. I
Do
thought
I
you were
have
saying
dates
like
planned?
Yeah. Okay. I thought he said like I have a date that I want to pay for, but I thought you were saying it in general. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I just want to. You understand what I'm saying?
I need that funding to go towards dating.
Got it. Okay. All right.
Or you don't. Just
Or I
save
can
that money.
buy-
I thought
I
he
can
had
buy a
like
crossbow.
a specific date that he was like looking forward to. Okay, now I understand. You're just saying
Yeah.
like this is my budget.
Correct.
Okay. All right. So rest in peace on the field to Tom Brady. I can't wait to see what you do afterwards. I hope you get a little fat.
You should buy some car washers like Shaq.
Buy some car washes. Get a Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
You know, get something. That way he can start making some real money.
He actually wasn't paid a lot.
I know.
As far as contracts.
I know
yeah.
his wife has more money than him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like put the money in the other players and all that stuff. Yeah, I know. He's a great guy. You know, unfortunately, he met with Trump. Anyways, lately on the internet, Bobby Schmurder's been swinging his hips,
Yo.
showing that girth all around time.
Shmoney.
Oh, boy.
Shmoney. I love that song.
What did prison do to Bobby Schmurds?
I don't know.
I don't know if we can even really call him Schmurder anymore.
Hey, that's what he calls himself. I think it's
Bobby
hilarious.
swinging that.
Yo, I love his energy. Right? He's Jamaican, man. That's what Jamaicans do.
Don't what is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
They got that high energy. They dancing all the time.
Don't look at me for confirmation. Oh yeah, that is what it is.
I didn't know that. So
Yeah.
Jamaicans should be twerking and stuff.
I don't know about twerking, but they're like dancers.
That they are dancers. Oh. So you don't think?
Yeah, Bobby Schmurder is swinging his hips. It is a little bit out there for a guy that's off. But yo, look, what's his name? These rappers are wearing dresses now and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
So
the Thug said famously, "I had to wear the dress because I had to hide the stick."
right. So I'm saying, like, how are you gonna be cool with these rappers wearing dresses, but you're gonna be upset that Bobby Schmurder might be,
Twerking?
swinging his hips in a gyrating in a reverse way? I guess you could put it.
Right. That's what's up.
You ain't gonna elaborate on your opinion.
You know what? I understand when somebody don't want to go back to prison. I do. I get it, and
Okay.
I say that because to be who he was not, he got to be the opposite. So when I look at Bobby Schmurder, I see a guy who, okay, he's twerking. It's kind of weird. I ain't gonna lie, but I think he's like, let me just embrace the opposite part of life that makes me happy. Before, he was sticking true to his name, and in his big song that made him famous, he's talking about Mitch caught a body about a week ago. Now he's dancing, and it's like,
He's still rapping about the same stuff.
understand, but we can't really understand what he's saying nowadays because it's can't understand a word what he's saying, so it's fine. But like it seems like he's just like, yo, I don't want to go back there. I don't want to have the same type of energy. I don't want to live that life anymore. So he's just dancing, and it's like he's having a good time doing it. And I like that he's just like, yo, everybody doesn't like it, but I like it, so I'm with it. So
Right.
I don't have anything bad to say about it. It is. It's different. It's not something I would do, but I have played twerked on a girl before. One time, like in like a little club area, and just be like, you know what, I'm about to, little 2 seconds just for the laughter, and then after that,
hey,
No one was laughing.
no, they laugh. Chanel,
nah, look, Kelby trying to throw that shit on me. You just admitted in a public environment you was twerking in a club with the mega
that
knees.
doesn't make me nervous or hot.
Good.
But I have seen Sunil's
Here we
knees
go. Hey,
touch the ground.
he can't speak.
I
He can't
didn't
keep
say-
it on him.
I
He
didn't
can't keep
say-
the spotlight on him
did
twerking
not-
with that
did not-
thing.
I didn't say anything, but Sunil brought it up. He brought up Mega Knees, and I have seen him hit the ground with his stilettos, and he was like, hey, I just seen it. but I don't have a problem with it.
Hey, the wildness of what Kelby be dreaming about is wild.
Listen.
Put me in stilettos, bro. That's
You
wild.
have a problem with that?
Yes, I do.
So Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, my
So-
calves, because I played soccer my whole life.
Can we insert the calves
He
in?
got good calves?
Can we insert those later? Those are good calves.
Nah. Yeah. No. He just be getting down on the dance floor. I saw a video of Sunil at the dance floor trying to like keep it like low. Like I think you posted it.
Yeah.
You was trying to keep it
fall
low
asleep.
because
Yeah.
he knew they was recording and he got right up off the ground once they start pressing record, and that was it.
Hey,
So
he keep trying. He's trying hard. Keep trying, Kelby. Keep going at it,
It's
bro.
okay.
It's
It's
gonna hit eventually. Keep going, bro.
The
It's-
misinformation on this
Eventually.
podcast.
it's not misinformation. What is misinformation?
Thank you.
Me and
Thank
Bree
you.
seen him.
I mean, it's an
He
opinion.
was on the dance floor. It's okay. Winnie
Depends
the
on
Pooh. Winnie the Pooh.
Christopher.
Pooh Shiesty.
Christopher. It's his time to talk about Winnie the Pooh.
Winnie the Pooh
Christopher.
Shiesty.
Anyway, like I was saying, I'm happy for Bobby Shmurda. I can see all 78 of his teeth gleaming from far away. And I'm happy for you too, Sunil. I'm happy for myself because you know what? I went to a party a few months ago, and I was a little nervous to hit the dance floor. I know how guys are. You know, they don't want to dance. It just kind of makes them nervous, blah, blah, blah. But I hit the dance floor. I bust a move. You know, they play 50 Cent, so I was like, well, I got to. And one of the dudes came up to me and was like, bro, you got to chill with the dancing, you know? And then another dude came like right after, and he was like, bro, I love your energy. I'm loving this. Every girl was like having a great time. But I was the only guy on the dance floor. All the other dudes was just like drinking and like leaning on a wall. And I was the only guy. So at first I was like, ugh, I don't know if I like should be doing this. But then I was like, I'm me. Like, I'm Pete, you know? So
That's facts. I like the confidence.
you know what I mean? So I was just
Keep
like,
it,
what
keep
do
it.
I need to care for if a bunch of strangers don't like it, you
Right.
know? And I was having such a good time. Every girl wanted to dance with me, and it was like, cool. So once that guy saw the result of the dancing, he was like, oh, you know what? Man,
doing you.
yeah, he was like, man, maybe I should hit the dance floor too. I was like, why'd you tell me that earlier? And he was like, because I don't know how to dance, and like, it seemed kind of, and I was like, yeah, I know, but like, sometimes you just got to bypass that. Like, oh, well.
It is what it is.
I heard this quote.
I don't ever think Sunil is, you know what I mean? Because he be dancing. Like, Sunil dances. And you know what? I seen ladies be like, oh, okay, like, I mean,
Yeah, dancing's like half my personality. But
Yeah.
I
be hitting that ground.
I don't know about all that. But I heard this quote, and I think it's really good. It said, don't take advice, or don't value advice, or don't value criticism from somebody who you wouldn't value their advice. So basically, don't value criticism from somebody who you wouldn't value if they gave you advice as well.
Got you.
So I thought that was pretty dope because that hit hard, because it's like, if you wouldn't look for them for advice, why should their criticism matter to you?
Somebody told me that, a mutual friend of ours, who we used to work for. She told me that when I was like 21,
Really?
and it changed my life.
That's
to be
dope.
honest with you, changed my life. Made my parents hate me.
I can never go back home again. But it changed my life.
Kelby was really that 5-year-old telling his mom to get him ice.
I need ice. And,
Woman, go get me some.
yeah.
I wouldn't have been able to finish saying woman.
No.
I would have said,
Okay, I'm sorry.
she would have slapped me into a different country.
Right.
Oh, darling. My soul. Okay, Winnie the Pooh and Bambi are now free to use.
Free to roam.
Free. Disney let them free. No.
It wasn't Disney, right?
It wasn't Disney. It's like the original story. Who? What?
Yeah,
The Brothers Grimm.
No, that's what's that guy's name? I almost said J.M. Barrie, but that's Peter Pan.
Stanley.
I'll look it up. But go ahead.
Right.
So
The
let's talk
Property
about
Brothers?
this. So it's what's it called now? It's domain. What?
It's a
Public domain.
public domain.
Public domain.
Like
So
Shakespeare.
For somebody like me,
Hmm?
who doesn't know about all of this stuff,
A.A. Milne. That's the guy's name.
AA
Milne.
so
Milne.
why don't you
M-I-L-N-E.
and Chris educate us on what that means. So you said like Shakespeare. Talk about what does that mean?
Okay, so all intellectual property, you can have rights to it up until a certain amount of time. Typically, it's 100 years, right? So the Bambi story probably hit that 100 years where everybody can use it. So that means I don't have to pay A.A. Milner's estate to use that story if I wanted to reimagine it or redo something to it. So now there are variations to that. So Disney has made a Bambi movie. Disney's made a Winnie the Pooh movie. And their versions have copyright on them. And they use it consistently. There's always a new Winnie the Pooh on TV, on whatever. So it's just, they're going to own it forever.
This is the first time that I learned that Bambi and Winnie the Pooh weren't those original stories that I watched in my childhood.
No, like, Disney is such a great company for taking things and
for pillaging.
No, but here's the
well,
thing.
they take advantage of what's public domain because all their stories, Snow White, even the Lion King is
Cinderella,
Shakespeare.
Yeah, all that stuff is like they're very wise in how they spend their money.
So the people that created those original stories don't see a penny off of what
they're dead.
Disney did. But their estates are like their family and stuff like
that.
The
thing is, like, a lot of them don't have estates.
So what's the original story of Bambi? Is it different from the Disney version or the original Winnie the Pooh? Are they different from...
I'm not sure. I know Winnie the Pooh, yes, was different. All the written stories are completely different from the Disney stuff. But I don't know anything about Bambi. I just know that it's now public domain.
I mean, the thing is, like, these people are wise. They have a brand. They have a brand look, right? Mm-hmm. Like, this is how we make movies. And they take the greatest stories ever made that are public domain, so nobody has to pay anybody, and they reimagine it. And these stories typically already have a name, a brand, something attached to it. So Cinderella's already famous. Bambi's already famous. Winnie the Pooh's already famous. So you're taking something that's like a 4 on the level of fame, and it already has a value, an intrinsic value. And so you take that and then you just pump, already greatness. You just pump your greatness into it, your brand, and then it takes it from a 4 to a 10 for forever.
So did Disney have to pay for Bambi and Winnie the Pooh?
I think so.
Yeah, they
must have had to.
They had to pay.
Got you.
But
now anybody could take. So now that it's public domain, I could take the Winnie the Pooh or create a Winnie the Pooh character of my own because it can't be the same as Disney's.
Correct.
But I have to create my own, call it Winnie the Pooh, put it on a shirt, and I could sell that and make money off of it without having to give any residuals to anybody.
Correct. Now, this rule is super important because...
Talk about how it deals with Shakespeare.
Before I can jump into Shakespeare, I'm going to talk about Happy Birthday. So the song... Happy birthday to you.
Oh,
right?
that version.
It was made.
Not the happy birthday.
Well, honestly, I don't know the story, right? But chances are that was created to get by copyright rules.
Yeah.
So,
and honestly, Stevie's version is a much better version of Happy Birthday.
I think all artists' stuff is
So Happy Birthday originally was written by somebody.
Yeah, it was written, I want to say, by 2 women. Okay. And if you had that Happy Birthday song in your movie, they're suing. If you didn't get clearance to put it in, they're going to sue.
Not even just in movies, in restaurants. That's why in Chili's or Red Robin, they have their own version of Happy Birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They have their own little rhymes, so they don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
So
that Patty Hill was made by Patty Hill.
So that became public domain when?
So it was published in 1893.
Dang.
According to 1998 Guinness World Records, it's the most recognized song in the English language, followed by "For He's a Jolly Good Fellow." Mm-hmm. So as you can see, like up until 1993, Homegirl was collecting that money. I knew it was 2 women. So it was Patty Hill and Mildred Hill.
If I'm not mistaken, Paul McCartney owned it for quite a bit too.
That can make sense. So when people create their pieces of art, it's important that you know these rules because here's one for example. That show Ozark, they used a song created by a Jamaican artist, and that song never went through the copyright process, and it's one of the most sampled songs ever. It has like 193 samples. Every time they play it on a TV show, and they play it all the time, it shoots up to the number 1 on a reggae chart. And that lady that made the song in the 80s has never received a single penny.
Wow.
Ever. Until like 2014 or 2017, something like that. So it's important that we understand that, like, who owns what. That's why people are so scared of social media, because it's like, okay, what if I post this, and then do you own it? Do I own it? Who's making money off of it? How? You know, all of these things. When you see people post like, this is mine, this is not for Facebook, like, we should probably be reading the Facebook and Instagram and all this stuff, fine print. Who owns this? Because Facebook could turn around and say, yo, this is ours. Even though I did hear Mark Zuckerberg say this is not for Facebook. If you post it, it's yours. It's whatever. But they could turn around and say, yo, everything's ours. We could use it for whatever we want. And we don't have to pay you.
Isn't that how, like, those shows like American Idol and stuff like that? That's why they don't bring their own, like, own content, because don't like the TV show own whatever music and stuff like that they come up with? I thought I heard something like that.
Say it one more time.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah, so
They don't sing original songs because then all of a sudden it becomes.
I think that's why American Idol, you never heard somebody sing an original song.
It exists in that first round.
Yeah.
Some people have done it, but I'm sure that they say, y'all got to cut this out because a lawsuit will come.
Right.
No. What I'm saying is that artists would not want to go on American Idol
And do their own original songs.
or not. Like, I know I thought, and I could be completely wrong, I just remember faintly certain people not wanting to go on American Idol because they have to sign a contract that anything that they write, if they sign a contract with Simon or whatever, anything that they write, Simon owns.
Yeah. I mean, chances are, music industry and their contracts and ownership and all that stuff is a hot mess, you know. But even in your everyday life. So I learned this, and it wasn't in a bad way, but I learned it. I wrote a script on a work computer. I ended up making the movie, right? I remember going into work. I think I took a couple days off to go film it. And my boss was like, did you write that script on the work computer? I was like, yeah. And they were like, the company technically owns that movie. I was like, what was that? Yeah. So when it comes down to all these things about ownership and copyright and all this stuff, you have to know all these things because it's important. So to bring it into Shakespeare, right? So Shakespeare dies 500 years ago, something like that, 400 years ago. What's the estate?
No.
How do we even really know who wrote it all?
Right.
So I think these laws exist mainly because after a period of time, it's just like what happens. What is it when you commit a crime and then it's too much time? Statute of limitation. Like when time passes, things get muddled in time.
Right.
And so the best thing you could do is just re-up it. Like, we're gonna make another Winnie the Pooh. We're gonna make another Bambi. So our version never becomes public domain.
So after you re-up, it goes for another 100 years.
Yeah. You're good with that. So
that's why, like, Spider-Man will never become public domain, or like Batman will.
Yeah,
because
they just keep making more.
They'll just make another Batman movie.
And there's rules about editorializing content that is old, but then the moment the studio starts saying, "Yo, we're gonna reboot this," you can't do that anymore because that old content is now a part of the release of the new content. I'm sure every time a new Spider-Man comes out, Spider-Man 1 from 2001 gets revenue. I'm sure Spider-Man 3 gets revenue. Like all these things, just like when you go perform at the Super Bowl, your old songs shoot back up to the top of the chart, So these things are important. So with Shakespeare, again, we really don't know Shakespeare.
Right.
We don't, who wrote the Bible? You know what I mean? So with the Bible, and Shakespeare, it all falls in the same thing. It was like, this was written a long time ago. there is no estate.
Right.
You know, there's no. We don't know who did what, when, how, and all these things. There was no rules, so it's just public domain. Take it, have fun with it. You can do whatever you want. No one can sue you because nobody owns it.
So basically, I can't do nothing with Uncle Ed for another 100 years.
Yeah. The interesting thing, like, I was gonna say.
By the way, now streaming on Tubi.
Yeah, now streaming on Tubi.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, make some money off that. But yeah, ownership, so important if you are in that IP space, especially with things becoming more and more technology driven.
Yep.
Things in your phone can either make you a millionaire or can make you broke,
Right.
and it doesn't exist. You get what I'm saying?
It's the same. It's like exactly with NFTs.
Yeah. Well, come on.
NFTs is like digital ownership. Is what I'm saying.
Yes. It's like it's not a tangible thing, but it's there, and it's important that you say, okay, if you're a writer or a filmmaker or something like that, you can look over at Shakespeare and say, okay, I don't have a budget to write a script. I don't have a budget for someone to write a script, but I want to make this movie. I love this story, blah, blah, blah. You could just reorganize Shakespeare and make it your own.
It's been done.
Yeah, people do it all the time.
10 Things I Hate About You. That's Taming of the Shrew. She's the Man. That's 12th Night. Lion King. That's Macbeth. So it's all
Isn't also like, didn't Denzel just do Macbeth too?
he did, which I actually heard was really good.
Oh, you watched it?
I haven't seen it, but I heard it was really good.
Don't just say that because he's black.
No. I heard like everybody. Frances McDormand. She's Lady Macbeth.
He should have done Othello.
He's already done.
It's a little too on the nose.
I swear he's already done.
I think he's
A
probably
movie?
already
A
done.
movie?
Yeah, I swear.
What movie is it?
Oh, I don't know.
Sure as well. He's done Shakespeare.
Oh, I mean, Denzel's an actor.
Yeah.
But that's why he can do that stuff. He can go from making, Fences to, okay, well, we got to pay this. Oh, there's a Shakespeare sitting right here.
Right.
And it's free.
Interesting.
That's why all your high schools do it on the plays.
Yeah. High schools have to pay.
Oh, yeah.
They have to pay. When I was in high school, they did Cats a billion times, and it was because they couldn't afford to do. They had to pay the rights to do a different show.
Well, at our high school, we did in my 4 years we did Thoroughly Modern Millie, which they had to pay for, and then after that they did 3 originals because they didn't want to pay. So
Is it only if you're making money off of it, or just to do it?
if you think you're making money off of it, you have to be making
so what
a profit.
if you do it, but the tickets were for free?
I honestly
think
don't know
it's-
because it's someone else's property.
Yeah, it's such a blurred line there. That it's
So,
like-
and then what happens if you sneak in? Oh, well, let's get some donations, or we're selling chips.
Right.
You know, like you're taking advantage of the situation, and artists have to get paid for their work. You know, Gunna was talking about this. So he did a song with Drake, and there's this moaning that comes from some song. I'm sorry if I don't remember who it was, but that lady didn't get the song to clear it. So the album comes out, there's no Drake feature, but it was promoted that there's a Drake feature. So everybody's like, where's this thing at? And so the feature comes out, the song with the feature comes out like 3 days after the album comes out, 3 or 4 days. And so it's like, what the heck? This is kind of weird. Well, it's because that moaning, the moan, did not get cleared by the artist. And so they had to go out and redo the moan with a different girl and to try and get the same feeling. And when you hear Gunna talk about it in the interview, he's like, it didn't even sound all the way what I wanted because I wanted to sample that lady's moan. But clearance issues, you know. But imagine if that song was 100 years old, then he's like, this is mine now.
Right.
You know, unless they
Re-upped it.
yeah, do something with it. You know, it may not only be just like a re-up. Sometimes they just got to do something with it. You know,
This reminds me of something else that happened recently. That song Yesterday, the Beatles movie.
Mhm.
They advertised that Ana de Armas would be in it.
that who?
Ana de Armas, the very, 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 very attractive girl. She was in like the trailers, and she was not in the movie at all. And fans sued because it's like, hey, you're it's almost like false advertising in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And since they're already dealing with the Beatles, all that fiasco, then they had Ana de Armas in the previews, was in the movie, and I'm not sure if they got it, but they sued, and they could sue, so it's very, very tricky business.
Wow.
She is.
I also want to point out that reminds me of the lies that they gave to us as kids. You remember the Snow Dogs movie with Cuba?
Uh-huh.
And all the commercials was the dogs talking. The dogs talk for about 5 minutes in that movie, and the rest is just, it's a lot. Kangaroo Jack, they always like, oh, this kangaroo's going to talk to you. Never talks to them.
You know what's kind of wild? Remember the original
could sue.
Scream?
Yeah.
Where it was like, back then it was Jessica, what's her name? That white girl.
They're all white.
But anyway, she's like the girl from, she's like a very popular actress at that time, and they were like, oh, she's in Scream, and they kill her in like the first scene.
Oh, I know. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
That's not advertised, like, that's not false advertising. That's like they're being meta about what the Scream movie is.
No, but I thought that was wild. I don't know why they don't do that more often.
They do.
Yeah, they do it all the time.
So 50 Cent is really good at doing that. So you'll see a poster with 50 Cent, Bobby D, Forrest Whitaker, and like Denzel. Okay, and then it's like, holy cow! Like, how did 50 Cent get a movie with the biggest names on earth? Mm-hmm. And then the movie starts, and Chris Brown prances around for 7 seconds, and then they shoot him in the head, and then Denzel comes out and he goes, and then they shoot him in the head.
That was the worst Denzel impression ever.
I felt it though.
Right. Right, he does that, and then Forrest Whitaker finds his way on scene, and they shoot him in the neck, and then Bobby D comes out and he goes, "What movie is this?" They shoot him in the head, and then the rest of the movie is 50 Cent. But they advertise it like,
look, I will take no 50 Cent slander on this.
That's not slander because
No.
he's a genius, but it is a form of marketing. I even tried to do it one time with. The moment I say this, everyone's gonna start saying it, but. What's the name of that rapper that looks just like me?
Lizzo?
Lizzo?
Biggie? You beat me to it.
I do look like
Your beard is thicker, though.
Don't, you can't say that. You can't say that. You're the white guy. Yes, I do look like Lizzo, especially at a Lakers game.
Ass all out. Twerk, 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 twerk.
I'm talking about David Banner.
Oh, okay.
Everybody say I look like David Banner. Uh-huh. So one time I tried to get him and Bow Wow in a movie. I emailed him like 1,000,000 times, and he lives right. Well, let me not say it. But I was like, I wrote the script. I got a 1-pager for you. I pay you $1,000 just being in it. And same with Bow Wow. I was like, you're gonna talk for like 30 seconds, and then we're gonna shoot you in the head. And then, and I was gonna advertise it like David Banner, Chris Brown. Oh no, not Chris Brown. Bow Wow and me in the movie, and I just couldn't get them. But that's a old school trick of like, okay, we're gonna get you in a movie. Hopefully, the movie's good enough for you to not be annoyed by it. But it's the same thing as when Chris Brown was in that dancing movie, and they killed him in the first.
Bryan Cranston and Godzilla.
Godzilla, you know,
But
that was his whole advertising.
They're in the movie, though. That's the thing. That's the
Yeah.
difference between, like,
Well, what you were saying, where she's
Right.
not, yeah,
not at all.
Yeah, I was talking more just, I thought that was a very brilliant, like,
it is, yeah.
marketing tool.
Trailers are like a whole different art form. It's like we saw, what was that movie, that cartoon one? We thought it looked so cool. 13 or something like that, the doll one. 9, there you go, 9. It had this badass trailer. Music was fucking cool. We're like, wow, this is so cool. Movie's nothing like that. Nothing at all.
Yeah.
Yesterday was a really bad movie.
I didn't see it.
I enjoyed it yesterday.
It wasn't a good movie.
Oh, that's okay.
I don't think anybody could hear you.
Chris said yesterday.
I was just said yesterday it was a pretty good movie. It was okay.
It was a bad movie. So was Kingsman.
Wow.
The third one. The third one.
The third
one.
one.
The third
I
one.
like
the
the
first
first
one is pretty good. Did you guys see Matrix?
No, I haven't seen it.
You saw it?
I saw it.
I heard it was bad.
It was definitely different. They should have done this for like a combination in the third movie. It was like all the stuff that should have been done then, because now it's like, where are they going to go from here? But yeah, it was different. It had different elements, but it was not as exciting.
Did you
sucks.
enjoy it?
There's portions.
So I heard that if you're a Matrix fan, like it was all right, but if you were just like a casual Matrix person, like this one was really bad.
Yeah.
Experience.
Yeah, definitely not like the first one. First one was out of this world.
The first one is the one before they stole it from that lady, allegedly. Okay, I'm happy I said that. So Cardi B is in a lawsuit.
She won it.
She won the lawsuit. She won $1 million, and then 3 days later, they got her another $3 million.
Dang.
So $4 million. So Tasha K, I want to say is the lady's name, said that Cardi B had herpes, allegedly, and Cardi B had to take these tests, and she just spread a bunch of lies about Cardi B, and she sued her for, I want to say, defamation.
Cardi B
sued Tasha's K. And so, kind of surprisingly, not only did she win, but she won that money. And Tasha K came out and said that it's because the system is against her. And it's, rich people trying to keep rich people rich, which, okay, whatever. But it plays into our scenario of like lies and how people are talking about it. Earlier we wanted to talk about how allegedly Kanye West is going around telling people that Pete Davidson, according to academics, DJ
the
Academics,
Culture Vulture.
I don't know how you can be Black Jamaican and in the culture and be a vulture, but anyways, and coming from someone, okay.
He rides for academics, bro. He's one of them. What are they called? The guys in the academics,
Scholars.
Students.
That was such a white answer.
Scholars. I pulled my accent.
Scholars with a K. Scholars. Anyway, according to academics, Kanye West is going around telling people that Pete Davidson has AIDS. And you got to be careful because this lawsuit, I think, changes everything. So there's two sides to this. There's a side of like, I'm saying something, I'm going to upload it to YouTube, and then people are going to watch it and hear me say lies about people, right? So that's why it's important you say allegedly or according to, cite your sources type of thing, like we're in school, MLA format. But the other side is, I've heard a lot of people say that YouTube needs to pay because it was on their channel, or it was on their platform, and they allowed it to be up. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a slippery slope if they get YouTube on the hook for it, right? Because then all of a sudden now YouTube has to be on their P's and Q's, and there's going to be even more censorship as far as like what YouTube will allow on their platform, won't allow on their platform, if they're going to be held accountable for what's being said on their platform, right? I think there's a difference between like telling people, like in the what academics is saying is, it's not like Kanye's coming out on like podcasts and saying this is a fact that all this. It's like he's heard multiple people that Kanye has said that, and you don't know if it's like he's saying it in a serious way or if he's joking, like this dude probably has AIDS or whatever it is. Like, so I think it'd be harder for Kanye to be sued, you know what I mean? Versus what this Tasha girl did, which was go out on like her channel and say, this is what Cardi B has, and this is the proof and all this kind of stuff, right? So, but going back to your original question of should YouTube be liable, I say no. Like I said, if the bad speech, like Cardi B sued, Cardi B got the money because clearly she could prove that stuff was not true, and then on top of that, like it affected her ability to probably make money in the future for whatever. Like I think that's what liable and stuff, you have to prove that it affected
libel and
your
slander.
So I agree with that. I think YouTube is not like the radio, and it's not like television that picks and chooses what they want to air, when they edit it, they make sure it's exactly what they want it to be. YouTube says they're a platform, which is different than a publisher.
Right.
They don't go and edit your stuff and say, yo, you can't do this. Now they do that. They do say you can't do this, or
the fact checkers.
Yeah. Like, especially about specific topics.
Well, they'll allow it to go up. They'll take it down.
They'll take it down. But
That's different, right? But they'll still allow it to go up.
yeah, but that's a game of like, when do I get caught? It's like somebody cursing on live TV. They'll
Right.
just fine you. You know what I mean? So it's like they can't control who posts what when. Like, if there's nudity that goes up, eventually they'll take
Right.
it down. But
But they have their own private laws. Like if
Yeah,
your
like community
video
guidelines.
Yeah, if your video supposedly breaks their private laws as a private company, they have these are the rules of being on our thing. Then they could take that video down, right?
But what does private company mean? Because they're a public company.
Well, here's what they're doing now. So what I read this article about this guy named what was his name? I forgot his name. I'll think of it later. But he does public commentary, and the fact checkers fact checked him, and they did it in a way that was slander. And so they're like, so he sued back. He sued back these companies, these third-party fact checkers that they use. So then it's not like, oh, it's not us, it's someone else. Mm-hmm. So he sued the fact checkers, and then in court it came out that they were technically opinion.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's what they're shoving off to third parties, and so they don't have to deal with it because they don't want to get sued every time someone posts something like that.
Private companies, anything that's not government.
Yeah,
So if you're not government, like you don't have to. You could have your own like rules and all that kind of stuff. That
Right.
are government
Guidelines.
laws, right?
So for me, I just don't see how YouTube could be on the hook for it. But they do play a funky role because lately the things that you have to be very careful with YouTube.
Right.
They're
going to censor certain content.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they do act as a publisher in many ways, but they are still considering themselves to be a platform. And that's why it's this gray area where we need 230 reform. If you guys are familiar with that?
No.
230 reform. So do you guys know what PragerU is?
yes.
Okay, so they sued YouTube because YouTube was de-algorithmizing their content. Because,
Shadow banning kind of.
yeah, exactly. So it's because they're a conservative platform. And so I was getting like ads that was like, please join us in this lawsuit because they're essentially like removing views from us because they don't agree with our opinions. And that is not what a platform is supposed to do.
Right.
The telephone company don't tell you what you're allowed to say on the phone. That's up to you. If you get in trouble for it, that's on you.
Right. They're supposed to stay completely out of it.
Yeah,
They can't
exactly.
just pick and choose when they're going to be part of it and when they're not going to.
Exactly. So that's where the conversation goes into like why YouTube is in this gray area of like half platform, half publisher. Like, y'all got to pick a lane because it only benefits the people they want it to benefit.
Right.
And that's where I think a lot of the divide comes because some things are hard to find on YouTube, and YouTube is the number one search engine and
Google.
online tool. No. Outside of Google. Like,
But I thought Google owns YouTube.
Yeah, I thought Google.
yeah, they do, but I'm talking about it as a platform. So
Yeah,
Google.com and YouTube.com.
Right.
YouTube is like everybody's university, everybody's form of like, they use it as a search engine. So it's the number one. So they have the power to sway how people think.
Right.
Because if you search for something you can't find it, guess what you can find? The thing that they want you to watch.
Right.
Back in the day, the only person in the world who had that kind of power was Oprah. And now, Sam got it.
I should be laughing.
But now these tech companies have it, and I think it's just a shame that's how it's turning out to be because it shouldn't be that way. We gotta say Lovid.
Yeah, and I mean it's just unfortunate that it seems like certain CEOs of these tech companies obviously have a political agenda, and like I said, when companies get interwoven with the government, that's when stuff starts going left. Same thing with the pharmaceutical companies. Same thing with
Yeah, it's all about lobbying and what
Right.
kind of rules. And I think I mentioned this earlier before because we're about to wrap in a quick second, but.
Oh, man, let's go on an hour tangent.
I know. But so I want to end with this. So there's this proposal going out that all politicians should make $5 million a year. And the reason is very interesting. So politicians clearly know what laws are on the way in and on the way out, right? And laws affect businesses. So with you knowing what is on the way, you can invest in a company when their stock is $1 because you know, hey, the X thing is going to be legal soon. In a year, that dollar stock is going to be 30. So if I put $300,000 or $1 million into that stock, and I facilitate this law changing, and then a year later I cash out from it. So it's like, it's not insider trading, but it's like,
it is.
It's not fair practice. So it's not, because they're not a part of the company.
Yeah, but if they know, like, there's a list of politicians, like top 50. And I think the top 3 are Republican, and then the next one I think is Nancy Pelosi, number 4, of all the ones who beat the S&P 500. And that's not hard to do, but it's like consistently beat it. It's hard.
And they're all making way more than $5 million.
Oh yeah. So what they're saying is politicians can no longer invest in the stock market, but if y'all are so hungry for some money, take $5 million and just focus on the work. Focus on governing.
Yeah, but that's naive.
But then there should be term limits then. You get 2 term limits, that's it. You get paid, I'd say $5 million per term. How about that?
I think that's still too much.
And why do you say that?
You're a public servant. It shouldn't be a career. Like, politicians shouldn't be, your career shouldn't be, I'm a politician. And the money that you make should be, like, it should be, you're not creating wealth. So who's paying their salaries? All of us. So I don't think that.
So do you think it should be their part-time job? Like,
No,
they
I
should be
think
something and a politician?
No, I think that eventually these politicians need to be going out and working under the laws that they've enacted instead of being outside of the laws, because they're politicians. They don't have to go abide by the same rules, because they never have to abide by the rules that they actually are creating, because they have all of this special stuff. I don't see how giving politicians more money is going to make them less corrupt.
But removing the ability to...
Why? That just means these companies that are lobbying and stuff like that, they're just going to up the amount of money. Just because somebody has $5 million doesn't mean that they don't want to make an extra free $1 million or $100,000.
You're both right, because like they used to pay politicians a lot more so they wouldn't be corrupt. Now it's like, oh, what's the next? How much can we give these people to make them, not incorruptible?
Right.
It's like there is no limit.
It's not just money that's corrupting, it's power. A lot of these politicians are set for life. Nancy Pelosi has more money than she could ever spend in her life.
She's got more money than she could have ever made in her entire life. She saved up every penny.
Bernie Sanders doesn't need to be working as a politician for money anymore. It's the power that corrupts them. So how do you get rid of that? You're giving them more money. Like I think.
What do they do with the power? That's the thing. I think you have to thread the needle all the way through. We want to be powerful for gain.
Yeah, but they're making way more than any amount of money that is feasible for politicians to be paid through a government agency. Because at the end of the day, you raise their salary. The only way they could get that money is by making us pay more.
Sure.
In taxes.
Sure.
So hell no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, but
I already think they don't do their job.
What about closing the loophole thing?
It's already there.
It would have to be hyper strict. Like, we tried to recall Gavin Newsom, didn't work, and we don't even know the process that went into it. So it's like we can sign a waiver today or sign a thing that we want to recall Gavin Newsom. Didn't work. Okay, what do we do now? Can't do shit. Like, so that's something set in place. Like, oh, you made more money than you should have. Like, you're out. No ifs, ands, or buts. No, like, oh, I got money from my grandma.
Yeah, and what they would just do is they would just have their spouse or somebody.
But even then, who's going to change the laws? These guys are the people that are benefiting from it. Now they're going to all of a sudden be, you know what, guys? We should be making less money. When has a politician ever been like, we should pay ourselves less? Like, you can't give the authority of governing yourself to the people that are making it's like you give the rights to your employees on how much they get paid.
Okay, so what I'm missing and confused about is if we close the ability for them to invest their money, knowing that they're only helping facilitate laws changing or being made to help these companies, and then they invest in companies so they can get hyper rich, then what's the what would replace that opportunity?
What's the solution to that? Is what you're saying?
How do you replace that opportunity? So if we say we
I
cut
think
off
what
your
he
ability,
said, term limits. You can't have
Yeah.
these politicians be there for 30 years of their lifetime. 'Cause
no,
they
that's
get-
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So let's say we put in the term limits, we give them $10 million. Here, you got
No,
two.
not the 10 million. Fuck the money. You don't get more money. You work for us. That's the problem. Like the mentality that we should give them more money when they're already not doing their job efficiently makes no sense to me. They already
think they
suck
should
at their
be
job.
poor?
No, they should. They already make too much. How are they making 3-4 times just by their salary of the average American? What value are they bringing?
Is that what
the
they're
average
making?
salary is 40,000. These guys make over 100,000.
Yeah, 180,000.
130, 120,000.
Yes.
So you make 3 times what the average American makes. For what? What is your value to society that you already make 3 times over what the value of the average American makes?
And we saw it with AOC, where she went from a bartender to a representative making 30,000 to 140,000.
Which is great. So that's already too much in my eyes, but that's what it is.
Well, I'm saying she was already complaining about it.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, he's right. They don't need any more money. They need to create a way that's like, you get your, a little bit more than normal paycheck, but you're done in two terms.
I think the additional $5 million was to weed out the opportunity cost. Hey, I'm going to take my money. I'm going to invest in the stock market. It's not an illegal thing. 48% of America invest their money in the stock market.
Right.
So if you remove opportunity, you have to make up for that. It's just like when they shut down for COVID, they had to pay businesses because, we lost opportunity.
So you think they make more money, all of a sudden they're not going to want to make more money?
I'm saying what is going to replace that? So if you're saying they're going to make more money, I'm not understanding what that means.
So you give them more money,
Yeah.
and then you think that all of a sudden that's going to cause them not to keep doing the investment stuff?
But I'm saying no more investing.
But why? So why?
That's why I'm confused.
No, but why? You can't stop them from investing.
That's what I'm saying. That's what's being proposed.
But
They're
that's what I'm saying.
No
That's-
more investing, but we pay you more money. So we cut off the opportunity for you to invest, but we'll pay you more money.
So we're giving them more money for something that's already immoral.
it's not immoral.
It's not?
It's not illegal.
I didn't say illegal. I
Right.
said immoral.
Right. So there you go. Okay. So it is immoral, but it's not illegal.
So why are we benefiting immoral behavior? Why should they get more money because they're power-hungry, corrupt people? That doesn't make any sense to me. It's just a effed up system. So at the end of the day, there is no solution. These guys are going to get it some other way. All the wars that they put us through, all that. We could go into this. Like what I'm saying. This is like one little aspect, and we're benefiting bad behavior. We're not benefiting. Rewarding bad behavior. So I think whoever thought about this was probably a politician. It's like, let's figure out a way to get paid more and make it look like we're the good guy. Oh, you know what? We should be getting paid more. Like, no, do your fucking job. Like, I'm not gonna I shouldn't get rewarded because I'm doing the wrong things. You know what I mean? Like, no.
That's notorious government work. Like, you get paid no matter what kind of shit job you do.
And we are misdiagnosing what the real issue is. The real issue isn't that they're not making enough money. The real issue is they're abusing their abuse of power.
No. That's not the issue.
No, I think that's the real problem. So you're
But
trying to
they're
solve
trying to
a problem
solve-
with more money when it's already a character flaw in them that
I
they'll
don't see it
figure
as
out.
more money. I don't see it as more
Well,
money.
you don't see it as more money because they're not going to make as much if we just paid them the $5 billion instead of letting them keep the 140, 180, and then doing the insider trading.
Yes, that's why I'm not seeing it really as more money.
Because the insider trading, not everybody's doing. It's only the immoral, corrupt people that are doing it. So why should we benefit them for doing something that's immoral? They should just not do it. They should have the mentality to be like, you know what? We're abusing our power, even though it's not illegal. We probably shouldn't do this. At the end of the day, I should just do what's best for the people that voted me in and not be looking out for what's the best for me, because I chose to be a public servant. I don't
know. That's a slippery slope.
I'm
Because
a
public servant
government
is still
job.
it's still a job.
It's a government job. You're paid from your government thing.
It's still a job.
Yeah, so get paid what your job is.
And still invest. You still should be able to invest.
But you shouldn't. Yeah, that's fine. But that's what I'm saying. If you're over here abusing your power by investing with information that not everybody gets, that's what people go to jail for.
But it's not considered insider trading.
Because they're not part of the company. But that's a loophole.
Yes.
That is a loophole. And
So that's what I'm trying to say.
But
like,
it's immoral.
and they do it in other ways too, like book deals. All these presidents,
Yeah.
they get book deals,
Speeches.
Yeah.
speeches,
Like,
artwork.
Yeah, it's all gonna happen
Hunter Biden.
anyways, because unfortunately that's the system of thing. But I don't think we should do anything to give them more money.
I don't know if I see it that way, but we do have to go. But I think maybe we could pick this up next week. I do like this conversation, but yeah. All right. Y'all good?
No, I'm good.
All right, let's go get some McDonald's. I'll see you guys next week. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube page. If you are listening to this on Google Podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, or on Spotify, please leave us a review, 5 stars. Let everybody know how great it is and how much you enjoy these conversations. Hopefully, you either love it or hate it. Those are the 2 emotions that I like. Don't be somewhere in between. And always wear protection.